What's good, YouTube, and welcome to the house. Pre-sales are up on Gamer's Choice, but before we get to React Andy and pre-sale review, we have a huge situation with Battles of Legend to update y'all from yesterday. I was talking about this at 3 a.m. on Twitter, and they deleted the initial tweet and put up this new one, clarifying even further. It says, unfortunately, the release date for Battles of Legend Monster Mayhem is being pushed back for most territories. There was a production problem that resulted in clumping of the Starlight Rares and a portion of the print run. This would have resulted in more Starlights for some, but fewer for others. So they're claiming, basically, that it wouldn't have been amazing raining Starlights for everybody like the creator boxes. It would have been a lot of empty cases and then some with a ton of Starlights, creating like this huge lopsided chase pull. I'd like to believe that we could get a product like the ones the creators got, but here we are. They're going to be basically redoing the set, as they're talking about. The delayed release date will affect Europe, Africa, the Middle East, and Oceania, all languages, as well as Spanish and Portuguese cards for Latin America. English language cards for Latin America, Canada, and the United States are unaffected and will still have their originally announced release date. So the other thing with this huge blunder is that we're potentially, depending on the timelines, going to have different formats for WCQ on the decks that are allowed to play, the techs, etc. The revised street date for affected territories will be announced as soon as available. We'll do everything we can to expedite it. So they're saying, hey, we're aware that this sucks. We're on it, and it is a terrible situation overall to have product that's faulty. Again, I wish they would have just gone with the product like we saw the creators had. That would have been awesome. We already know there's easy access Starlights coming in the 10s. But that being said, let's tame expectations. We saw the NA creators pull none. We're supposed to expect them to be similar to quarter century secret rares. So maybe 3 per case on average, which explains how the creators didn't get any. And worst case scenario, it would be like old battles where it's like 1 per case or 1 out of every like 13 boxes, because sometimes one wouldn't have one in a case and the next case would have 2, that kind of stuff. But that being said, let's go ahead into pre-sales. I've seen only these so far, and Blue Eyes at 200. Yes, Blue Eyes usually leads the set. I figured it might be a little more than I expected, but woof, 200 is a lot. And again, these are some of the only realistic expectations for pre-sales we might see, because TCG player is always so bloated unless a set is going to be different. And Blue Eyes carrying the set at that price, if we're expecting 3 per case and there's 25 different ones, that is a lot of cases to go through, over 8 to see this one Blue Eyes, and that's a lot of costly product as well. Kind of unfortunately makes a bit of sense how they ended up at that. Now, I don't agree with Skull Servant. I already said I wouldn't pay over $30 on that one, and I'm sticking to it. But Dark Paladin, every single Dark Paladin feels like it just rises up over time. This might be a bit much. And again, they're still deciding and hedging bets over here on Gamer's Choice on which cards will end up selling, and it looks like they're betting on the chibis. By the way, you can make these cheaper using code What'sGood5 for 5% off and support the channel directly, of course. But I will say my honest thoughts on what I would and wouldn't be considering. Blue Eyes, unfortunately, I might consider around there. Gores, I think, will land around 80, but I could be wrong. It could be 120. It's kind of right in the range where I thought. Neos, max rarity heroes in a unique art, yeah, it might be around there too, unfortunately. I'm kind of interested to see where some of the cards that you can only get in the set add up, and there's Dragon Maids. Never underestimate them. Already sold out. I had to pause. Look, Eternal Rivals on Market Watch. I didn't mention them yesterday for a reason. I wanted to see where things would go, and they're some of the first cards selling out on pre-sales. Of course, the Punk Engine, I'm really excited to see get its update. And again, these are Starlight Rares. They're also available in lower rarities. And that's what's also shocking is the chibis are available in the lower rarities, meaning that there is already a mid-max option on release that looks nice, that is competition to these, which is why I don't give them as much credence as Gamer's Choice overall outside of Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes makes a ton of sense. It's going to be a chase card. People will end up going for it. But on the rest of them, like, you know, there's a hero, there's a Gorge for past formats. Then we start to get kind of on the lesser side on the high rarity chibis, and where will people settle? The secret rares. So that's my opinion on those. But the new cards out of the set, some of them are huge updates to decks. The Alter Art Fable Lurie, I bet people might be going for that for the WCQ and flexing with it. The Starlight Herald of Orange Light, starting after its buyouts at under half the price of the ultimate rare. When we've seen Starlights play catch up a lot, this is one that might be good to actually be getting in here early with. Again, we're assuming a lot of things with ratios, but if it's like QCRs and there's 3 per case, and we're talking 8+ cases to see one of these on average, I think Herald is a little underestimated versus the current trends on it on high rarities. I like the Ojama too, but it's just not that relevant. We saw with Galaxy Eyes that the QCR Alter Art of 107 didn't do all that hot, so it is different. This is the main man, but 50 on this, it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I don't think Gearfried's up there the same. I've been watching the Battle City episodes where it resists the insect parasite and all that stuff, but I don't see this at 50 either. I feel like that's a 30 to me. Now, the regular Secret Chibi Blue Eyes leading the set, that is a surprise to me. I thought they would put other cards above it, and here it is, hanging out with the Starlight rares. 177 card set. So we do have to take that into consideration. But the QCR out of the 10s of the SDK art is 30. So this feels a little bit high to me on the secret rare, and I would expect it to go down just a hair. Definitely deals to be had here on the front page, and those are my thoughts on those, but this does feel high to me. And again, always putting the audience first and my truth. Oh, that would have been a steal. $30 on the Starlight King of the Feral Imps. This has been popping up in the decks. It's an undisputed highest rarity. Makes sense. I really like the Starlight Junk Warrior Chibi. We saw recently the other one get buyouts on it. At 25, this seems right about where it should be, if not a little bit low, considering the main one is going in anticipation. But that's still gambling, not only on the pre-sale prices, but on the support that will actually come from the structure deck. So do be aware of that. But this feels versus where the one has gone, I feel like this is not a bad deal. Now, I did think that some of the original cards to the set would be pulling the value. Galatea is a bit up there. I would think Primite 15 would be where I would have priced it. 18 is where I about expected, so after discount codes, it's right there. So it is within expectations. You have to remember, before the fallout to 35, this was a $100 card. So it is the big draw of the set. It makes sense with its price history that they're trying to put it there. The Galatea, you do have the Orcus deck competitive. It does make sense that you would want to draw with it. I wish it was around 25, but again, I'm getting more so how they're chopping this up, and it does make sense. I think Primite, Dragon Ether should be around 10. Gore's about right where it should be. Past format cards get a lot of attention. We start to get into $10 cards, Gem Knights, Punk Engine at 15. I was hoping 12, but again, these are all within ranges I would expect for pre-sales, so they do seem relatively fair. And then we go down into the Chibis. They're betting a bit harder on the Chibis than I would be. I would think the Galaxy would be a novelty. It would be 5 to 3. Neos makes more sense around 8, which after the code it starts to be around there. Skull Servant, I like it a lot, and I know Summon Skull Deadlifting, they're not the same card. It doesn't deserve it, and I say that as somebody who wants it, so maybe it does have that appeal. I was hoping for $3, but that was hopium, mayhaps. Stardust Sutff for about half of where it's currently priced. I would expect this at $5, personally. I think the reprint will drive it down to the ground even with its current use. So the set will still be open, but now you do have the delay as well. The Dragon Maid, though, after the QCR sold out, and it's at 7, and there's a lot of Dragon Maid buyouts. Emblem Ultra. I haven't broken down the ratios of that yet versus the guaranteed emblem in the pack and how many there are. Let me know if you've done that math in the comment section. I can't actually give a really good assessment because ultras are usually the easier pulls. But this is an emblem ultra. Yeah, the Forbidden Droplets are cheaper than market, and it's right about where I expected after Code. I expected them 5 to 6, and it falls right there. And Triple Tactics Talent should be even cheaper, and I don't think we've seen it yet. Drill Beam back to 5 is nice to see. Android Secrets at 5. So this actually came up in the Discord. It's one of the only spoilers I have on the pre-sales. Somebody said they were tempted at the price, and I do think that we saw Substitute start out even higher, and it took it getting another release in one of the Quarter Century Secret and Platinum Secret sets in order to go down, and it's still at $5. So I think this is actually, unfortunately, fair pricing in terms of expectations. It's right around where I would price it at, and it could just go up from there because the current values were $20. It's a very big set, and it's something that a lot of people are going to hunt, even though it's not as relevant to modern. So I think 5 is fair, and it could even be cheap to some degree. We do have a Rotted Summon Sorceress in here. I don't think it'll see the most play, even if it peeled off the list, but that might give it some hype and a flashbang moment of the market. We see Triple Tactics cheaper than market at 4. Again, in the Ultra slot should be plentiful pulled, but it is a big set list, and we continue to go down from here in prices. True Draco pass format upgrades for Toss is actually kind of cool, unironically, because we did see hybrid decks, right, like True Draco, Sky Striker, and Billy and Jackie actually really enjoyed playing Draco Zoo format, although that's not going to be everybody's jam. The Secret Baby Rulers at 2 is kind of nice. These won't be the easiest pulls, and these just spiked up a ton. I think that's extremely fair. This is actually something I might be grabbing for past formats myself, and $2 with the code even cheaper, I think that's pretty fair. I might actually end up biting on that one myself through here. Orcus cards with upgrades, I think these are pretty well priced at $1 with the emblems, makes a bit of sense. You can get the pump cards to match the new cards with the emblems, makes sense. And then we continue through and we get the Dragon Maids, which feel, I hate to say it, they feel underestimated at this point. I really hate to say it, but I feel like this is a $3 card kitchen Dragon Maid. I've maybe been beat into submission at this point. It could be that they're just talking to me through all the past buyouts. Feels a little underestimated. Like, yeah, House Dragon Maid, you gotta have the brand new altar art. People are rushing towards that. People have options, but the kitchen? Let me know what you think. Gearsu also cool to see. So then the rest of the set's dollars and less. I think Gamer's Choice, as usual, has done a pretty good, honest job, and isn't just taking, oh, look at this, down in price during they didn't see enough sales. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. This is not anywhere what I expected to happen while I'm live filming. Gamer's Choice takes a real and honest and analytical approach with what they think, and they shoot true to what they think with prices on what will happen to a set, and they adjust with data and what they're seeing. So sometimes that's prices up, and other times that's prices down. That is freaking awesome to see them working live right now during initial release. You'll love to see it. Also, speaking on, Tier 0 offered free, but refunds to anybody who has become uninterested in the set or pre-ordered with thoughts of starry-eyed starlights in every box. They've offered, this is again Tier 0, offering the refunds on the set. So if you've ordered battles through the EU and you're disillusioned with it at this point, you can get refunds on the sealed from the EU, and they understand the situation. Definitely one of my best sponsors of all time as well. Gamer's Choice Tier 0, shooting true, doing great customer service. Love to see it. Let me know what you think of pre-sales and how they've stacked up. I think it's interesting. Oh, 80. Oh, a little repricing through here live. This is awesome to see. So other cards coming down just a hair too. Yeah, so that's exciting. Go ahead, check them out. Right now, code WhatsGood5 for 5% off and to support the channel directly on the cards you might be wanting.